When you're working with CSS, there are a number of ways of setting styles for HTML elements. For example, take a look at the menu system. As you can see, there's a div element that opens up here displaying a table of menu items, and that div element contains the menu items as you see here. That is styled with CSS styles. Let's take a look at how that works. Notice in particular, for example, the mouse cursor changes to a hand, and the style of the text displayed in the menu is set to various font and a background color and so forth, various foreground color and so on. So let's take a look at how that works. There's a number of ways of setting styles, and this is one of the primary ones. This is the menu div. This is the style element. It usually goes in the head section of a web page, and the style element lets you set styles for various elements inside the web page, various HTML elements by ID number, ID value, and for example, the div element whose ID is menu div 1 is set this way. You can see you use a sharp sign in front of the ID value, and so sharp menu div 1 sets the styles you want to add for the menu div number 1, the div element with the ID menu div 1. Here's the color that sets the color of the text in the div element, and that is, you specify the same kind of color values as you do in HTML pages. This sharp means it's hexadecimal, and it's a red value, green value, and a blue value. And the background color you can also set this way with hexadecimal and 77. It's the red value, CC, that's the green value, FF, that's the blue value. And you can see how this works. First, you specify a color property to set, such as color, background color, font weight, and so forth, and font family, and so on. Then a colon and the value followed by a semicolon. These are called style rules, and a style rule is made up of a property, a colon, and a value to be assigned to that property, and they're separated by semicolons. So that's the format. You have sharp, and then the ID of the element you want to set the style properties of, and then curly braces to actually enclose the style rules you want to set for that particular HTML element. And notice the style properties you can set. Background color, font weight, which you can set to bold, so if you want bold, coloring, bold, font weight, you can use the font weight property. Font family, going to use Arial in this case. Position is absolute. The position is absolute one is an important property we're going to see later on. It says that when you set the properties of this element, you can position it in an absolute way in the web page. So instead of being displayed in the normal flow of items in the web page, this item's position is absolute, and you can display it as you like, wherever you like in the web page, and that's going to be an important one. Visibility is also an important one, and that starts off as hidden. So as you see, when you first come to the menu's web page, you don't see the target menu divs. It's only when you run the mouse over a menu item, that the menu items are displayed like that. So the visibility starts off as hidden. And cursor property is an Internet Explorer only property, and it allows you to set the mouse cursor to a hand icon when the mouse cursor is over the open menu. Okay, so that is primary way of working with styles in CSS. Another way of working with styles is with the style property, the style attribute. Here's the style attribute, and you can see you say this is for an image. This is for the sandwiches.jpg image, as you see here at left. And it says style equals, and we're setting the left and the top and the width and the height properties of this image. So you can also set styles using the style property, the style attribute, that is, of the tag itself where you're creating the element. So here, for example, you're creating a div element, and you can use the style attribute with the left property, top property, width, height, and visibility hidden, and so forth. So you can also set styles using style rules, which is a style property, value, and then ended with a semicolon with the style attribute, like this, as you see there. Okay, so and you can also access these styles in code. You can, for example, this checks to see where the mouse cursor is, or it should hide a particular menu, and it checks the image element and its style. This accesses its styles using the style attribute. And .top accesses the top property, the top style property. So this allows you to check the image element's top property, where the actual top of the image is in the web page and so forth. It's very nice, very important to be able to do this kind of work. In fact, you can also change the style properties on the fly, and we're going to see examples of that coming up later. And for example, you can display an image, display a menu by making it style visibility property and setting that to visible and so forth. So we're going to see more about that later on. But in any case, this movie has introduced you to the idea of working with styles, setting styles both in a style element and using a style attribute, both of which are important in CSS. We're going to see more about these as we discuss CSS in more depth.